I'm Mike from St. Thomas Economic Development, here with another little update from the St. Thomas megasite. This week, we're going to take a look at the construction staging plan that outlines at a high level the work that's going to happen on the site from this year until the end of 2027. So as we take a look at this map, first I want you to note the little gate markings around the outside, G1, G2, etc. These are defined construction gates, and this system's been outlined at the beginning so that while there's all sorts of work going on the site, there's going to be stuff going on everywhere. We're going to be able to assign contractors certain access gates so that they can make sure that their traffic coming on and off the site is not overlapping with traffic from other contractors going on to other parts of the site. So for Ministry of Labor and for safety, the important thing is to have space separation if you can and time separation if you can't. In our case, we're going to be able to have excellent space separation between gates in and out of the site, which will allow easy and safe access for all the contractors working on the site. So let's start in the center of the site and kind of work out. The first thing that you'll notice is that phase 2 and 3 of grading for the site are both marked, but phase 2 is actually already done. So that's no issue, and phase 3 is beginning to have work done on it as we speak, whenever they're able to work out there. Right now, it's tough conditions, so they do what they can, but for the most part, you'll see big activity on phase 3 of the grading plan for the PowerCo site, starting in the spring, as soon as the frost is out of the ground of 2024. Next, I'd like to draw your attention to the orange road network that you can see on the west and south side of the battery plant facility. This will be the first road network that provides full access to the site, and construction on this will begin as soon as possible in the spring of 2024. This will include everybody's favorite road, Electric Avenue. Next, let's take a look at the electrical infrastructure that's going to be added to the site. You can see a substation south of the site and an electric corridor that enters from the west of the site and carries over to the substation. This is going to be put in by Hydro 1, or as you can see labeled on this map, and as they're colloquially called in conversation, Honey. Don't know why they spell it that way or how they got to that. Maybe someone can let me know. But anyway, this is going to be the primary electrical service that will service the site during construction and act as one of the two lines of electricity coming into the site during operations of the park into the future. This substation is going to be dedicated to the PowerCo facility, so it takes a lot of power to run that bad boy. Next, you can see a blue square that the hydro corridor sort of wraps around. This is the South Edgware Water Reservoir and the South Edgware Booster Station. And at this site, there's going to be 2 new pumps added, very big water pumps that will pump the pressure and the volume of water that's needed to serve the industrial park, to serve very high-use industrial users. Of interest, the PSI is going to be 87 coming out of that, which is very high. Fairly uncommon in terms of typical municipal water systems. Much more common is 40 to 50. That's the usual operating pressure of water in the rest of the system in St. Thomas. So 87 or about 90 PSI. It's a lot of pressure. Further west, there's a purple corridor, which corresponds directly with Highbury Avenue, and that is the Highbury widening that we've already covered, but you'll be able to see that work start early next year, and that will see Highbury turned into a 4-lane, 2 lanes each way, road carrying traffic in and out of this area of St. Thomas from the north. Lastly, for 2024, on the south side of the site, you'll see a green corridor, and this will mark the beginning of construction of the rail infrastructure being brought into the central rail yard in the site. So this is going to come up from the CN track on the south of the site at a very gradual grade to make it a safe way to transport hazardous materials in and out of the site. You'll notice also that there's a spot where it's going to cross a future road. So this rail crossing will be prepared at this time. This crossing will actually be a rail over road crossing. And so in this case, the rail is going to be built over first with the road crossing prepared but not constructed until a later date. That's it for 2024. Let's take a look at 2025. So this is the plan for 2025. You'll notice there are a few elements that are held over from 24, so this is work that's continuing from 24. The orange road network on the west and the south of the site will be continuing its development. With roads like this during construction, you'll often see that they'll build sort of the substructure of the road and a subcoat of asphalt, which will take all of the abuse of heavy construction traffic, and then later, once the construction's done, at that point a top coat is added so you've got a nice, beautiful, smooth road to drive on thereafter. You'll also notice that the electrical infrastructure work is ongoing, so the substation will still be under construction and being worked on, as will the corridor bringing power in from the west side of the site. But you'll additionally see a power corridor coming in from the north. And so this will provide a redundant connection of power to that substation, meaning that any interruptions on either one of those lines that could compromise the power delivery through those lines will have a redundant route to that substation. And so in either case, if there was any interruption, you wouldn't have interruption of power at the site. You'll also see some new things on this map. You'll see a couple of blue swim ponds, as they're labeled, or stormwater management ponds. This is where water can run off to or be conducted to by drainage throughout the site to keep the site drained and workable and dry and prevent flooding. You'll also notice an extension of the green rail corridor onto the site. So this will extend from the spur that will be built in 2024 and include the construction of the rail yard that will exist in the center of the industrial park and immediately adjacent to the PowerCo facility. You'll also notice a little purple section that's attached to the orange section of the road network. And so this will be the extension of that road from where it's taken in 2024 across to meet with Yarmouth Center Road on the far east of the site, and that will happen in 2025. In 25, we're also going to see the beginning of construction on the major arterial roadway, or the MAR, as you'll see it labeled, bringing traffic from Highway 3 into the site near the south boundary of the site. And that's going to be constructed all the way to about the center of the site, where there will be an interchange for traffic to get off and head north into the site on that orange road network. Immediately surrounding the PowerCo parcel, you'll be able to see a couple of small parking lot projects. Paving will happen on those projects in 2025. And similar to the roads, this will be sort of a subcoat of asphalt that's put down, and these parking lots can be used for parking for contractors, but also for staging of materials as necessary. And then towards the end of the project, they'll have a top coat put on, so it's nice, smooth, beautiful new parking lot. The last thing to notice on this map is a little red line, which connects down to a red dot in the bottom right-hand, the southeast corner of the site. And this is early sanitary servicing and a sanitary easement for what will be sort of the south and east parts of the site. So the sanitary sewers for those parcels on the site will be conducted through those pipes down to that pumping station at the bottom corner, and that will pump sanitary sewers out of the site. Interestingly, the northwest part of the site can sort of drain naturally to a point sort of further on the west, but on the south and the east, it has to drain down to the southeast and then be pumped west afterwards with a booster station. That brings us to 2026. Just to continue on the sanitary sewers, you'll notice that there's a little orange line that's been added on the east side of the site, and so that's just continuing that same sanitary network down to that pumping station at the southeast. Other work that will be continuing in 2026 is the hydro corridor. Construction bringing power in from the west side of the site will be done, but still continuing that north-south corridor, bringing it down from the north down into the substation. There will be one more stormwater management pond constructed at the northwest of the site, sort of next to what's been deemed the Taylor Triangle up there at the northwest. You'll notice a new purple road network, so that'll be the last road and servicing coming into the site along entrances on the north of the site as well as on the east side of the site, sort of finishing off the initial road network for the site. Construction will be continuing in 2026 on the major arterial roadway to bring traffic into the site off of Highway 3. And then the rail yard will also be continuing development in 2026, getting that to the point where it's ready to offer full rail service to PowerCo and anyone else operating in the industrial park. There will also be some top coat paving that goes on in 2026, so you can see all of the parking lots will have top coat put on them, as well as top coat and curb construction on the edgeware entrance to the site, which is not edgeware anymore. It's conductor crossing. That's it for 2026. And if we take a look at 2027, we'll see there's really only one project carrying over into 2027, and that's completion of the major arterial roadway from where it stops in 2026 across the site to meet with Yarmouth Center Road, most likely in 2027. And that's it. Like all good plans, there's a decent chance that some small changes will happen to this one, but at a high level, this is how we expect the development to roll out on the site over the years to come. We're very much looking forward to continuing to follow this, and if there's any parts of this development that you're particularly interested in seeing, let us know in the comments and we'll see what we can do to cover it for you. Anyway, that's all for this week. Thanks for tuning in. Like and subscribe on YouTube, and we'll talk to you soon.